Hey, this is Captain 12B, and I'm here today to talk about an upgrade for the Silver Bullet that's now available, the low resistance spring. Now, I love my Silver Bullet. This and my screwdriver are my two devices that I use every day, all day. The Silver Bullet is great at high voltage vaping. It's a monster. The screwdriver is great at 3.7 volts. Now, I don't know why the screwdriver beats out the Silver Bullet at 3.7 volts. I can only attribute that to the amount of metal, the weight, the resistance internally within the Silver Bullet that prevents or uses up some of the energy getting to the atomizer. So for me, at 3.7 volts, the screwdriver has always beat out the Silver Bullet. It'd be nice if the Silver Bullet had the zing that I needed at 3.7 volts, because an 18650 battery is a monster. It goes all day long. It doesn't need to, it's possibly 2 days worth of vaping in one of these batteries for a person who vapes up to 20 hours a day. Batteries are an important thing, but the screwdriver has excellent battery performance. My 1000 mAh batteries last me hours, and I go through a couple a day, and it's not a problem. But Alt Smoke just came out with an upgrade. Low resistance springs. The premise being lower resistance, more voltage to the atomizer. For a couple bucks, you get a low resistance spring. I didn't pay for fast shipping, a couple dollars, less than $3. I had the thing at my house in 4 days. You cannot complain about that. It's a simple mod. It requires no tools other than a pair of tweezers or whatever you need to do to get the stock spring out of the base. It just sits in the base. This is the stock spring, low resistance spring. Stock spring works fine. Low resistance spring is supposed to give you 0.4 more voltage to the atomizer at 3.7 volts. We're going to find out. I'd like to show you vaping on a nicely worn in 510 atomizer using a T-tip. We're going to put a couple drops in. I'm going to show you the screwdriver, then the Silver Bullet. 2 drops. Here we go. Love the screwdriver. I feel it in my throat. I get great flavor. I can hear the atomizer sizzling and popping when I'm direct dripping. Man, it's great for 3.7 volts. I haven't found anything that beats it. I'm not even a huge fan of low resistance addies. I've tried them. Seem kind of harsh. I get good performance on a stock addy. And then I can take the stock addy and put it at 6 volts later. I can't do that with a low resistance addy. We're going to take the same atomizer, same drip tip, put it on the Silver Bullet, put in a stock spring, an 18650 battery, and see if there's any noted difference between this and the screwdriver, and then we'll replace it with the low resistance spring and see if it ups the performance at all. I can tell you I've already tested it on a multimeter. And on the multimeter, I saw no difference. With the stock spring and with the low resistance spring, I got 4.3 volts to the addy. I was a little disappointed. I expected more. I expected to see 4.5, 4.6 volts, something. Now I know we're talking 3.7 batteries, but fully charged 3.7 batteries, 4.2 volts, or in this case, evidently, 4.3 volts. Maybe there is no resistance when you're not pulling a draw on it. Maybe that's where my test is gone astray, but I can tell you that they read the same on the multimeter. Stock spring, same addy, same drip tip, 3.7 volts in the Silver Bullet. Good vapor. I don't hear the addy working like I do on the screwdriver. I don't get the same punch in the back of my throat. Nice, mellow, smooth vape. There's nothing to complain about. If I didn't have the side by side, probably wouldn't even notice the difference. But I still like the screwdriver better. Now we're going to see if by putting the low resistance spring in there, it makes any significant change, if you can tell the difference in the vapor or in the throat hit. Pull out the stock spring. Low resistance spring goes in. Put in one more drop. And we'll give it a go. good vapor, maybe a little bit more punch. Man, it maybe a little bit more, not drastically more, but that was pretty good. It's hard to tell. I still think my screwdriver outperforms the Silver Bullet even with the low resistance spring. But I could hear the Addy, just a slight bit more sizzling going on and a little bit better punch. So it's a very cheap mod. It does possibly make a little improvement. Nothing on the multimeter to speak of. But now we're going to take the Silver Bullet to its happiest place. We're going to put it at high voltage. Because at high voltage, when I put the low resistance spring, I did see a difference on the multimeter. On the multimeter, running the Tenergy 3.0 750 mAh 123As, I got 6.8 volts fully charged batteries on the multimeter with a regular spring, and I got 7.1 volts with the low resistance spring. So that is 0.3 more volts using the low resistance spring. So we also got to change out the Addy. I've never run this Addy at 6 volts. In this case, 7 volts, close to it. This is a stock spring, 6.8 volts to the Addy. Give it a go. It's just a monster. I love high voltage vaping. I love the Silver Bullet for high voltage vaping. This device I've had since the day after Christmas. It has been a monster. I haven't had to do any maintenance to it. It's rock solid. If you're gonna high voltage vape, I know there's a lot of devices out there, but nothing's been able to pull me away from the Silver Bullet, and I've messed with a few of them. Low resistance spring, 7.1 volts. Diablo Loco in this thing last night, so it's still got a little bit of that bite. Just a monster. So, bottom line, stock spring, low resistance spring, very cheap mod. They are available from Alt Smoke. Couple bucks, $5, probably get it to your house. No real noted difference, maybe a little improvement at 3.7 volts, nothing you could detect on a multimeter. 0.3 more volts at high voltage vaping was shown on the multimeter, and it does have a little bit more punch at high voltage vaping with a low resistance atom or the spring in there. Like I said, very cheap, very easy, and if it's something that interests you, it's available now. Many people don't know that they're out there. Low resistance springs might be something you want to look at, and that's my take.